Scott, can we test drive this advanced network planning tool, sir?
We can. Yeah,
I
let me
love
just
it.
share my screen here. Let me know when you can see.
Affirmative.
All right, so like we said, we usually start out in Link Planner. This is Link Planner. So this is a neighborhood design that we're doing. First, you're going to go in and you're going to place all your CNs or customer nodes, your DNs or distribution nodes, and obviously your POPs. Once you've done all this, which we've done here, you just click this Google Earth button here. It's going to open you up to this Google Earth image of basically the same thing. It's going to give you a couple little drop downs here, but what you need to do is create new folders. Adding folders here, I won't do it. I already have one keyed up here, but what you'll do is create these 3 folders, CN, DN, and POP. Once those are created, you're going to drop these network sites, subscriber sites, and your POPs in the correct folders, and then go back and delete all the other folders except for these. Once you've done that, you'll just simply right click and save the place as your site list. The other thing we're going to have to do is get a boundary in, so we can just click here, just kind of crudely draw in a boundary, and then we're going to save that. I've already got one saved here, so this is my boundary. Once we have all that in here, we're going to pop over to the AMP tool. I'm already in a folder just to avoid showing other customers in here, but essentially you'd create a folder. Once you have that folder, you can create a plan within that folder. We'll just call this test. And when you're starting out, you just want to do an end-to-end planner using GeoTIFF files. If you're doing the same project again with a different budget, you can always use an older plan, but we'll start out like we're brand new. So first things first, we're going to add in that boundary file that we created. Then we need to add some LiDAR data, and this is what lets ANP work with the surroundings to know if there is line of sight to each location. Gives you 3 options to upload. We found the most effective is just using a DSM file. So we'll do that. Next is the site list that we talked about when you save all of your sites here. So we save that. Next, during line of sight, we don't change much of this because if you have the information from Link Planner correct with the heights and everything off the roofs, it's going to use that versus using the defaults here. So we'll just kind of skim over that. And next we get to a radio section. So we're going to put 1 DN per site. That's not per number of radios, that's number of DNs. We'll do 2 connections that DN can see other DNs, and we'll add the 15 connections it can make to the CNs. Under the dimensioning area, we're going to decide how much throughput we want to give them. We'll say 100 megs to each. Can the POP actually service clients or just the DNs? We're going to say the client can service, or the POP can service the clients. And then you get your oversubscription factor. So this tool can go up to 3 times, so we'll use 3 times. One thing I always forget is showing the advanced options under the radios. This is where you can get really granular and type in all of the information as far as what channel you're using, information about the antennas. So we'll add that quickly. And just for the purpose of this demo, I'm just using a V5K antenna on both the DN and the CN, but you can choose either or. 2 sectors per node. We have 2 sectors. And then we'll do the same thing for the CN.
I love the realism of the urban area. We had the ambulance in the background. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well played. Well played, Scott. So Mark, as you're watching this, and I know we've touched the ANP tool a little bit. I know you're very, very familiar with Link Planner. Is there any advice you have to the folks at home as far as setting them up for success in Link Planner to then transition to ANP tool? We'll talk a little bit about getting access to this tool while Scott is doing his thing. But do you have any advice for the folks at home about what are the essential things you need to have before you start going down this path?
Well, so for most people, Link Planner is the way to go if it's a smaller network. If you're going to do a mesh network, you could certainly build it, and you should build it in Link Planner, just like Scott has done, and then send all that data to Wave, and we'll run it for you on the A&P tool if it's that big of a network.
Very cool. Well, let's talk a little bit, guys, Scott, or even Bruce, if you wanted to address this one. The advanced network planning tool, how do people become authorized to use it? And are you just throwing this out there for any end user to use, or are we being a little bit more calculated about it?
Yeah, I can probably take a cut at that. Really, as Mark was saying, if you're looking to build out a cnWave network, you really ought to start with Link Planner. Get all your nodes and endpoints and into Link Planner, and up to I've seen designs up to I think I've even seen up to 100 or more nodes just completely designed in Link Planner. But then if you want to take advantage, let's say you're going to do a citywide deployment or a much larger scale deployment, then you really would want to engage the services of somebody like Wave and take their expertise at the A&P tool, which can help sort to give some of those trade-offs that Scott will be kind of demonstrating here. So A&P is not necessarily today and what I'd call an end user tool, but it's something that the engineers can use in the background to help validate your design and offer some suggestions on developing that bill of materials. So that's kind of how I would describe the scenarios today.
Right.
Awesome. Love it. Well,
All
good.
right, so
Well,
just,
when they talk about the experts, they're certainly talking about Mark Billets. They don't let me touch the tools since 2003. So we won't go into that in this forum, gentlemen. But Scott, tell us where you left off here, and what are we looking at next?
Okay, so I finished the project, inputting all the parameters, and I ran it. Obviously, to save time for this recording, I pre-ran this design before this call, but this is the output of what's happening. So this is just a general overview within the tool, but the meat and potatoes come in the output files. So you want to, the ones I primarily focus on are the line of sight, the actual reporting graphing, and then a text file to show kind of your budgets. Yeah, I haven't done it yet. 1 sec. Here we go. All right, so once it's done, it pops back into Google Earth, and you can kind of see the actual design that it's proposing. You get a bunch of lines. The pink ones are actually candidates saying, I can see all of these. The blue ones are the ones that it actually picked. So we'll remove the candidates. And then to go a step further, we'll change the color of DN to CNs so we can actually see what it's doing. And then you can kind of get a real look at where your network can provide, cannot provide. And based on this output, you can then go back in and either move DNs, like you can see here, this one and this one weren't connected. So you can go in and try to figure out why, maybe move them a little closer or better line of sight, and come up with a good design to get rolling.
Wow, this is really cool. And so the output of this, so you've got the Wave engineering team helping you out doing this design. Will this actually, you heard Bruce talking about the V3000s, the V1000s, will that actually spit out a bill of materials that when people have a real live opportunity, they can come to Wave and say, here's my bill of materials for this network design we just did?
I'm not sure if it gives a full bill of materials, but once you actually do the plan and know that your Link Planner plan is correct and you have all the connections you want, Link Planner can then spit out a bill of materials for you.
Very cool. Love it.